An analytical review of the literature on motivation in online learning. Motivation is that force that stimulates, gives direction to continue and/or choose a behavior that we want to encourage. Online learning is learning that is taken using the internet and is sometimes referred to as distance learning, distance education, online education, or other variations. Motivation in online learning is therefore the process whereby a learner is encouraged to take an online course or use a distance education system to reach a goal that they feel is important. Motivation in online learning is an important theme to research, study, and understand because motivation is one of the most essential factors that learners should have for successful learning. A learner's motivation has been consistently linked to successful learning experiences, and motivation is a critical factor influencing the cognitive learning process. Educators need to consider, understand, and research motivation in online learning. Educators need to do this to develop better instructional conditions, strategies, and mechanisms to promote online learner motivation, ultimately leading to a learner's successful learning experience. The 10 studies included in this analysis were identified through database searches, searching Education Resource Information Center, ERIC, Google Scholar, IGI Global, Taylor and Francis Online, and Elsevier. All sources were selected from educational technology journals, all including electronic media. To figure as part of the analysis, the journal sources had to include research participants and had to contain a methodology section in the study. This means that meta-analysis, book reviews, etc. were excluded. The analysis only included studies with the word motivation along with one of the following phrases: web-based learning, online learning, distance learning, or distance education. The selected studies ranged from the year 2003 to the year 2011. The 10 studies were from 9 different peer-reviewed journals. The 10 studies selected were analyzed for similarities and differences. A detailed analysis of each selected study was completed, and findings and implications were identified. 3 themes, learner characteristics, self-efficacy, and the role of communication were identified in relation to motivation in online learners. The first theme was learner characteristics. Learners have inherent characteristics such as gender, age, employment status, lifestyle fit, the need for content mastery, and culture. Females needed control of the learning processes using computers and the internet. Females desired a clear and concise learning content, useful class assignments, and repetition of previous learning, while males were motivated by personal motivation. One study showed older learners used online learning opportunities more than younger learners did and achieved better results. Contrarily, another study showed older participants were less likely to partake of online educational choices, preferring instead to choose classroom instruction. Full-time learners were more motivated and successful in taking online courses than were part-time learners. The demands of life, of family, job, and personal schedules, lifestyle fit, are major motivations for choosing online learning experiences versus traditional courses. Learners wanting high content or mastery of a given topic chose traditional course techniques versus online courses. Some cultures, such as American, are more motivated to take online learning for self-efficacy, course relevancy, and personal interest reasons, while other cultures are motivated by learner control capabilities. The second theme was self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is an individual's beliefs, expectations, and confidence in his or her ability to complete a specific task when using the internet and computers. Learners were motivated to take online courses or use the internet if they had higher self-efficacy or confidence. Self-efficacy was reported as a major motivator in online learning, but one report noted a cultural implication. American participants indicated self-efficacy was the second highest motivation, while Korean participants indicated self-efficacy as the last motivation, and the report authors attributed this difference to different cultural values. Learners with higher individual interest in computers found the online experience more interesting. This was particularly true when learners understood how the skills they were learning can be used in real life. Educators need to consider the learner's self-efficacy when considering how to motivate a learner towards potential success in an online course. The third theme was the role of communication. Communication exists between the learner and the educator, between the learner and other learners, and between the learner and the online or distance education system. Educators are responsible for providing appropriate and timely feedback, creating an effective learner environment, and ensuring a positive educator-learner relationship. Using a sense of humor when communicating, an appropriate tone of voice in verbal and written communications, and having face-to-face meetings where possible are beneficial approaches. Providing timely and appropriate feedback and generally making sure learners interact with the system is also recommended. Online course materials need to be visually appealing, and the pace of material should be flexible. However, learner achievement should be monitored. One study found the learner-learner relationship is not important when considering the motivation of online learners, but another study reported that motivated online learners perceive their peers as significant learning resources. In order to ensure effective communication, the learner's interaction with a distance education system must also be positive. A learner's attention is greater when educators use a video-based instruction versus a traditional text-based instruction. A distance education system must also ensure that a learner is provided an effective learner environment with personal control. A learner's perceived control over a distance education system and a positive experience with the interface leads to flows, or feelings of satisfaction or motivation. In conclusion, motivation in online learning involves learner characteristics such as gender, age, employment status, lifestyle fit, the need for content mastery, and culture. Motivation in online learning also involves self-efficacy, an individual's beliefs, expectations, and confidence in using the internet and computers. Learners were motivated to take online courses if they had a higher self-efficacy or confidence, but cultural differences were reported. Motivation in online learning also involves the role of communication. Communication exists between the learner and the educator, between the learner and other learners, and between the learner and the online or distance education system. Educators are responsible for providing appropriate and timely feedback, creating an effective learner environment, and ensuring a positive educator-learner relationship. A number of limitations were identified. Subgroup differences and generalizations are potential limitations. Various subgroups were studied, including Canadian high schools teachers, U.S. post-secondary school learners, Taiwanese post-secondary learners, United Kingdom learners, and one combination U.S.-Korean study. 2 studies specifically recognized this limitation. Sample size concerns, as well as study length limitations, were identified. Study participants' experience levels with online courses were also identified. As well, not investigating different models or portions of an online system was identified as a limitation. Implications for policy and practice include the following. Video-based instruction is more effective than text-based instruction. Educators must provide learners with an engaging, controllable learning environment, allow for and ensure direct interaction with professors and students, and provide immediate and positive feedback. Some studies specifically suggested breaking down online environments into various components during further research. Some studies suggested further research considering various population subgroups. Further research is recommended to continue investigating the role of motivation in online learning.